It was the word that dominated the warnings from Remainers over the Brexit debate and led to claims of fear-mongering from the Leave camp. But 3 months on from the EU referendum, there is little sign the UK economy is anywhere near recession.
One of Europe's leading economic forecasters, the OECD, today halved its growth prediction for next year, as our economics editor Ed Conway now reports.
As one door closes, another opens. For Cotswold Manufacturing, maker of all sorts of doors, the hope is that leaving the EU will be an opportunity as much as a challenge, if you're prepared to graft for it.
At the end of the day, if you want a share of that growth, you've got to work very hard for it. That's what this business is about. You don't get a business like this without working very, very hard. There's always work out there. It's a case of how hard do you want to work to get it.
It's a similar story across the economy. Nervousness about the post-Brexit world, but for the time being at least, no catastrophe. So what about that Brexit recession that so many economists were predicting before the referendum, including the Treasury saying just a month before that decision that the UK would indeed face a recession? Well, what is a recession? Let's just go through what the dictionary definition says it should be. A period of temporary economic decline during which trade and industrial activity are reduced, generally identified by a fall in GDP in 2 successive quarters, contraction in 2 quarters. Are we there? Let's have a look. You can see that over the course of the past few quarters you've had pretty strong growth. That's in the run-up to that referendum decision. That's strong UK economic growth. The expectation for most economists was that in the future there would be relatively strong growth of about 0.5% in the future quarters. But then the decision happened. Then Brexit came along and they changed their forecasts and they predicted this. 2 successive quarters of contraction this quarter, and next quarter that would be a technical recession. But then data's come along as being a bit better than expected, and now they expect there won't necessarily be this recession. There will be relatively strong growth in the next few quarters, although a lot weaker than was previously forecast. And that's kind of borne out by what we've heard today from the OECD, talking about growth slightly stronger than expected this year, but slightly weaker than expected, in fact a lot weaker than expected next year, 1% growth rather than the 2% that they previously forecast. The question is that borne out by the actual economic data that we're starting to see? This is Joe Grice, he's the chief economist for the Office for National Statistics.
We certainly didn't see a catastrophic decline in consumer confidence immediately after the result, as some of the early surveys suggested we might. So far, we're seeing some signs of strength. We're not seeing any signs of major weakness, but we only have part of the picture.
Here in Stockton-on-Tees, a whopping 61.7% of people voted Leave. They were told that doing so would consign the country to a weaker, poorer future. So far, the future looks a lot brighter than that. Ed Conway, Sky News.